and we will get situated. I apologize about that. I do have just a few short announcements tonight, and then we will get into it. But let me, oh dear God, what did I do? Let me get situated here, and then we will get started. All right, I think we're good to go with that. So welcome. This is our Sunday night live Q&A. Obviously, if you have any questions about Coturnix quail, raising quail, hatching quail, breeding quail, brooding quail, anything to do with Coturnix quail, feel free to ask and we will do our very best to help you on your adventure. We try to do this every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and try to answer your questions so that you can be more successful with raising Coturnix quail. We do a couple fun things here every Sunday, and that is if you want to let us know where you're from. It's always interesting to see where all the quail people are at in the world, which is kind of cool. Number two, if you've hatched any eggs from us in the past week and have not told us the hatch rates yet, feel free to do so, and we will write that down for our records. We're currently sitting at a 74% hatch rate on shift eggs for the year, and that is from all the feedback that we get, whether it's on here or emails or texts or whatever, so that's fantastic. Doing very well with that. And then we try to be kind to one another, so be kind in the comments, and if you can be kind to the channel and me by just hitting the like button, I would greatly appreciate it. But remember, this is a live Q&A, so you ask the questions and we are here to try to help you the best that we can. So get your questions in. I will go as quickly as I can. And that's typically how we do our Sunday night lives. The last thing I'll tell you before we begin is that I usually start with announcements, anything that maybe the quail world, quail community needs to know or might benefit from knowing, and then we'll get right into it. So, first and foremost, if you do not know what Quail University is, you really need to check it out. You can go to our website. There is a tab that says Quail University or Quail U, I can't remember. And it is an online course that you can take. And it is everything you need to know to be successful at raising quail all in one place. It's very convenient at your fingertips at all times. Once you purchase a class, which is like $49, then it's yours forever to go back and watch. We bring out new stuff all the time. There's handouts, there's spreadsheets, there's quail math spreadsheets to make it easy for you. Excuse me. And then, obviously there's over 8 hours worth of videos on there to help you on your adventure each step of the way. It's organized extremely well. Jasmine from Time and Timber and Linda Easton Waller from Hatching at Home helped me and my wife from Myshire Farm put this together, and I love it. It's 100% customer feedback, which is fantastic, and it's going very well. And we have quite a bit of graduates this week that got their diploma and finished everything. So I want to do a quick shout out to Debbie W, Susan T, Jacqueline M, Andy T, John Russ C, Kimberly H, Karen T, Melody C, Glenn W, and Rochelle S. So congratulations to all of you for passing the course. I actually do have 2 videos. One is about Quail University to give you more insight. I've just not had any time to post them at all. So hopefully I'll be able to get that done this week to give you some more insight on that. But make sure you check that out. Also, Quail University is right around the corner. It is less than 60 days away. If you don't know what that is, you can go to our website as well. Go to the tab that says QuailCon. There's a bunch of information on there. If you type into the YouTube search bar, QuailCon 2023, I did a video on that not too long ago, but there's going to be a lot of speakers here. There's going to be tours. It's here on the farm, September 3rd and 4th. And we do tours of the quail barn, tours of the farm. We do, master classes, workshops. We're going to have a dinner. We're going to have all kinds of really cool stuff. It's a great place to come and learn, a great place to get away for the weekend, a great place to have fun, and a great place to be around like-minded people, which is really cool. So make sure you check that out as well. We're a little over halfway sold out, which is fantastic. And I would assume the sooner or the closer it gets, then the tickets will go a little bit faster. But it's here in Myshire, in Miamisburg, Ohio. All right, so QuailCon, Quail University, the auction site, anybody and everybody that was on the auction site this weekend, I hope you had a lot of fun. We do an auction site on Facebook every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Have a lot of fun selling some eggs and auctioning off some eggs and things like that. Some really, really great deals happened this weekend, so congratulations to all the winners on that. And I think that is all of my announcements, I do believe. So we will get into the comments and make sure you support the channel by just hitting the like button, and then we'll go from there. Mike is in the house. Says hello, Mike from North Central Kansas. Since Turnix quail aren't native to America, are there any rules regulating quail that could potentially escape into the wild? Yeah, you cannot release them into the wild. Number one, it's illegal because they're not native to here, and number two, they're low on the food chain, so they won't last more than a day or two. So you can't release them. If you're wanting to release them, then you would be looking at bob whites. It's a great question. Also, I forgot this announcement. We do have live quail on our website. A lot of people ask about it. They are available. We've got jumbo breeder sets. We've got all hen sets. We've got all male sets. We've got teen sets. We got all kinds of sets. Like there's a lot of live quail available on the website. They are going kind of fast, but we still have some available if you want to check that out. Also, if you're semi-close to us, we are selling some of our Cooney pigs. So if any of you are interested in some of our pigs, you can reach out to me. My phone number is on the website. And then obviously Jenna is selling Great Dane puppies. So you can check that out as well. She's got it on a couple websites, and then she started a Facebook group called the Myshire Farm Great Danes, and she uploads and posts videos on there all the time. So make sure you check that out as well. All right, now we'll get into the comments. Winnie Fields is in the house. Welcome. We're glad you're here. John F. is in the house. Good evening, all. Welcome. Glad you're here. Patty's Garden Feathers is in the house. Welcome. We're glad you're here. PJ's Family Farm is in the house. Hello, all beautiful quail people in the house from the Catskill Mountains of New York. Welcome. Can't wait to see you at QuailCon. Vay's Place is on here. I don't know if Ed Got Bait will be able to make it tonight, but they are my moderators on here. They do a fantastic job. They're also on Facebook leading the charge as well as behind the scenes. So thank you for all that you guys do. Let's see. PJ's Family Farm says, finally got chores done on time tonight. There you go. I actually did too. I mean, I literally just finished, but I don't have anything to do after this, which is kind of nice. Winnie Field says, keep Zach happy. Hit the like button. There you go. Please do so. Let's see, Dr. Connie's in the house from Florida. Welcome, we're glad you're here. Dane is in the house from Georgia. Missed all of you, my quail family. Welcome, we're glad you're here. The 80s room is in the house. Welcome, we're glad you're here. April Howell is in the house. Welcome. Andrea Perry's in the house from North Carolina. Welcome. Emma Ball's in the house from the UK. Welcome. Very cool. I know it's late there. I'm assuming Just AIs is in the house. Alan and Joy in Madisonville, Kentucky. Welcome. We're glad you're here. Short Pickens Quail is in the house. Welcome. Nana's a Nerd is in the house. Welcome. Wyatt Higgs is in the house. Won an auction this weekend. Congratulations. Hey, I'm ready to get my eggs from the auctions this weekend. Happy to hatch them. There you go. So good luck with that, and congratulations on the good deal. Jesse Mills is in the house. Welcome. I'm sure I'll see you at QuailCon as well. Bags of Love is in the house from North Carolina. On Friday, I ordered 50 of the Jumbo White Wings. I currently have Jumbo Wilds and Egyptians. Looking forward to adding the Jumbo White Wings. There you go. Awesome. I would assume they'll go out Monday, probably. So good luck with that. Obviously, keep me posted, and I wish you all the best. Erica Willis is in the house from Arkansas. Welcome. The 80s room says, how tall of a coop do you need for quail? Typically about 12 inches. You could do 8 to 12 is ideal. So it's kind of weird. If you have them in a hutch, if you have them in either a hutch or a cage, The ceilings need to be either 8 to 12 inches. That's your thing. If it's below 8, then they're going to be cramped. If it's above 12, they're going to get more flighty, hit their head, and die. So it's got to be between 8 and 12, except if they're in an aviary. And in that case, they need to be at least 6 feet high, because they will become more wild and they will start jumping and jumping really high. They're kind of like glorified jumpers or glorified flyers. So really it just means they jump really high. So 8 to 12 inches if you're in a cage. Let's see. Nabiki's in the house from Oregon. Welcome. We're glad you're here. Egg Got Baked did make it for a little bit. Thanks for showing up. Paul Montgomery's in the house. Hello from Michigan. Can you store hatching eggs in a refrigerator? If so, how long? No. You do not want to store them in the refrigerator. They can go on the counter, room temperature for up to 7 days. So just in case anybody else is asking, I typically get this question asked a lot. How good are the eggs for? So once they are laid, you have 7 days to put them in the incubator. Now, at 7 days or sooner, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7 days, the fertility rate and hatchability does not change whatsoever. From day 7 to day 10, you lose about 5 to 7% of the fertility. So it's not a huge difference. But after day 10, you lose about 5% a day every day after that. So that's when it really starts adding up very quickly. But the rule of thumb is 7 days or less, room temperature. You do not want to get them too hot or too cold while you're storing them. Room temperature is completely fine. Teresa Couch is in the house getting greetings from beautiful Vermont, where it just became 112 quail richer, thanks to Myshire Quail. Well, that's awesome. Congratulations. Sounds like you did pretty well, and I wish you all the best. Shelly Spalding's in the house. It's Shelly in South Carolina. Hatched jumbo white wing this week, 18 out of 25. Even got one all white one. That is wonderful to hear. 18 out of 25. White wing. Not too bad at all. And yeah, you'll get some of those whites because the white is tricky. But yeah, you will get a couple of those. But again, one is not a lot. You know what I mean? But great hatchery. You did amazing. Congratulations. And thanks for letting me know. Andy's in the house. Mash the like button, y'all. Absolutely. Hit the like button. Tracy's in the house from Florida. Welcome. We're glad you're here. Maria's in the house from Utah. Welcome. We're glad you're here. Andrea Perry's in the house. I've got 7 Winola water troughs on cages. Do you find the quail dump or splash a lot of water out? I do have one leaking I need to fix, but otherwise I'm not sure how the water is filling the poop trays. They shouldn't even be able to do that because they should be on the outside of the cage. If they're on the inside of the cage, then yeah, they will do that. But if they're on the outside of the cage, most likely you've got more leaks. We've had a leak or two or a clog or two that you have to fix, so you have to keep checking them about once a day or once every 3 or 4 days. We do it once a day, but I'm overzealous on it. But yeah, if they're outside the cage, you shouldn't have those issues. So most likely you've got another leak from either the hose or the float is stuck. Witch Doctor's in the house. Good evening. Guess what? I don't know. What? Child of God's in the house. Welcome. We're glad you're here. Tracy says 16 out of 30 hatched, but first time. The humidity was really high first week. One was a huge looking hemorrhoid, so I'm thinking he won't make it. Ordered more today. 16 out of 25. Not too bad at all. Let's see. Tracy, if you're still on, if you could let me know what kinds you ordered, I'd greatly appreciate it. We try to keep track of the hatch rate as well as what kind so that we know each variety's hatch rate as well. And that just helps us along the way. Let's see. Ed Got Bait says like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Absolutely. Verna says it's September 2nd and 3rd, and she is right, not the 3rd and 4th. I do that every week, so make sure you look when you buy the tickets. Aaron's in the house. Hatched my first hatch on my own eggs in my home-built incubator. 292 hatched out of 325 store. Excited it all worked. That is awesome. Congratulations. That's amazing. Good job. Lee Kessner is in the house. Says, hi, I hatched and raised one batch of quail about 4 years ago. I am looking to raise them again and improving on my husbandry skills. Well, good luck. This is a great place. We've got, I don't even know how many videos on our YouTube channel to help. Quail University would be very beneficial for you. And then obviously, if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to ask. And it's a very inviting and helpful atmosphere around here. We all try to help each other and be kind. So no question's a dumb question, and you're more than welcome to ask. Foster Farms is in the house. Welcome. We're glad you're here. Let's see. Tiny Quail Farms in the house. I have regular brown quail, egg weight from 8 to 12 grams. Should I sell the eggs that weigh 8 to 9 grams or just 10 grams and up for bigger quail? Should I sell? Also, how can I increase egg size? You keep breeding the biggest to the biggest. So you've got standards, you don't have jumbos. It will take probably about 2 to 3 years to get them to jumbo size. And you just keep breeding, and don't focus on the egg size, focus on the bird itself. You only breed the biggest to the biggest. And then, yeah, if you want to sell the rest for eating eggs or balutes or something like that, that would be completely fine. You can eat them yourself. Or you can have a standard cage and a jumbo cage, and the ones that don't make weight go into the standard cage, and the ones that do go into the jumbo. But yeah, that would be how you do it. The 80s Room says, do Egyptian quail do okay in cold areas? Yep. All of the Coturnix quail are very adaptable to the weather. So whether it's super hot, super cold, they'll adapt. I just did a video on it. I think it's the last video I did. What is too hot for quail? It'll give you some tips and tricks on there on how to raise them in extreme weather. And that should help you a lot as well. But yeah, they'll do fine as long as they're out of the elements. You know, they need some, they need to be able to get out of the wind, the rain, the snow, whatever. Kenneth says, how do you buy live jumbo quail? Go to our website and go to live quail, and then those are all of our options on there. And our website's myshirefarm.com. PJ's Family Farm says, pigs, they will fit in the back of my car. They will. They're cootie coonies. They're heritage pigs. So they will. They're very short, but man, do they get big. Foster Farm says, Zach, we have a couple of cages that the eggs are getting dull, more dull than shiny. What causes that? Usually the calcium and the fiber in the feed is usually what the cause of that is. They could, I don't know how old they are. If they're kind of older than most, well, I don't want to say most likely because it could be a feed thing. You've been doing it for a while. I'm assuming you're doing the same feed. So my thought process would go to, they're probably going to start molting soon because they do that as well. They'll start having dull looking eggs right before they molt, and then they'll pick it back up with the shiny eggs. But adding some calcium will help with that as well. Nana's Nerd says, I just finished transitioning my hens to layer feed and have noticed a few soft shells. It has plenty of calcium. Any ideas? It's probably just the stress of switching feeds. I wouldn't worry about it too much. If you're still getting a few soft shells by next week, we'll take a look at the feed and try to help you out, but I'd let it go for another week. Usually it's just the stress of changing feed. They do not like change. They'll adapt to the weather, but when you change their environment, whether it's the feed or different cages or adding new quail or changing the water system or changing the light system or whatever, they get really hateful and mad, and they'll stop laying or they'll stress themselves out and lay soft eggs or whatever. Foster Farm says, hit the like button, folks. Absolutely. Thanks for all the support, everybody. I appreciate it. Witch Doctors in the house, save us some quail and eggs at QuailCon. We will need to buy a bunch this year. I will have plenty available. We get, in fact, let me show you guys something real quick. Okay, I can do it. I can get up. We were actually in a newspaper, and look at this kind of cool thing that Jenna put together. So it's a bunch about our farm, and it says Kacherny Quail Farm produces almost 3,000 eggs a day. So we'll have plenty for QuailCon. And I'm planning on, I gotta look at the calendar. In fact, I can probably do that real quick now. Let's see, if I put them in there, they hatch there. Oops. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So next week I probably will not do any auctions, or I'll do very few, and then I'll fill up our incubators with hatching eggs, and then those will be 4 to 6 weeks old, because I have some in already for QuailCon. So there's going to be, you know, live birds, teens, males, hens, all kinds of stuff, hatching eggs, supplies, all kinds of stuff at QuailCon as well that you can pick up. And I forget who asked, but there is a link that Vay's Place put in that says live birds. That was Kenneth. So Kenneth, about 7 or 8, I didn't count, comments down from your original comment. She put the link in there for you. Richard Strickland's in the house. I've been having a bit of issues with my parish sanitarian. My state director of poultry is easy about chickens. Quail are regulated parish by parish here in Louisiana. Suggestions Npip being called. I don't really know what your issues are. And I would need a lot more information to try to help you out, Richard. I mean, are you trying to sell across state lines? Because if you are trying to sell across state lines, then you just need to be Npip. If you're just trying to sell eating eggs to farmers markets or restaurants or something like that, then you just need an egg producer's license. And if you're just raising them in Louisiana, you don't need anything. So I would need more information on what you need. Feather Connections Homestead is in the house, says hey Zach, and everybody from Provo, Utah, welcome, we're glad you're here. Jesse Mills, obviously in the house. Richard says thanks. Yeah, if you can give me a little bit more information on what you're trying to do, we can try to help you out the best we can. False Farm says, Zach, can we order live birds on the site and pick them up at QuailCon? There will be plenty here. The ones that are available on the website, I won't have space for to hold that long, but I'll have plenty available to pick up here. Psycho Word 360 says, Zach, we got a house in Tennessee, and so we are packing right now. That is awesome. We will be able to drive down your way for QuailCon. Very excited. That is really cool. You will be much, much closer than where you were in Vegas. So very cool. Congratulations. I know you've been working on it for a while, and it's great to hear that. Oh, thank you for the assistance on previous video. Not a problem. Happy to help. That's awesome, Psycho Ward and Witch Doctor. That's really cool. Rob G is in the house. Says hello everyone in Myshire. Noob here from Pennsylvania. Got eggs in the incubator on 9th day. Very cool. Well, good luck. Wish you all the best. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. We'll be happy to help you on your adventure. But we wish you all the best. Good luck. Clifton Buck is in the house. Good evening. I have some that are 12 weeks old and some that are 6 weeks old in cages in my shop. I built an outside pen. Will it hurt to put them all together? I would wait to put the 6 weeks old with the 12 weeks old for another week or two. The rule of thumb is once the 6 weeks old start laying eggs, you want to wait at least a week after they start laying. So if they started laying last week, then you can move them now. It all depends on if they started laying or not. But I always recommend you add, when you're adding new quail to older quail, they should be 8 weeks old. But again, if they start laying, give it a week and you can put them in there. It's not that big of a deal. It's just hard to kind of verbalize that to everybody. So trying to be as consistent as possible, I always say 8 weeks. Witch Doctor says we forgot to order our QuailCon t-shirts. You can get with Feather Connections Homestead. They're doing it on there, and they'll be happy to help. Kevin Short says, from North Carolina, got 180 eggs in the incubator, supposed to start hatching this Friday. Can't wait to see what I get. Thank you, Myshire. Awesome. Good luck. I wish you all the best. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Orlando's in the house. Welcome. We're glad you're here. Farm Life is in the house. Welcome. Let's see. Dan says, do the eggs do well shipped in summer heat? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, last week we haven't had a lot of hatch rates being told tonight yet, but last week it was like 90%, 98%, 85%, 90%, like they were high. It was like 22 out of 25 and 47 out of 50 and 40 out of 50 and 37 out of 50. I mean, it was all high. So yeah, the summer heat doesn't affect the hatching eggs, but we ship same day as laid, and then we double box. We use special foamers to keep the heat out and the eggs cool, and good relationship with the post office. We've got the shipping down to an art, so you don't have to worry about that. Shelly says, for those who do outdoor shows, what do you recommend to keep the eggs from losing fertility in the heat? So in the warmest of months, it's the best thing to do to collect them twice a day. Now, typically, it does vary if you're in an outside versus inside. But most of the time, not always, but most of the time, you can kind of determine when they lay, because they lay the same time every day. Almost all the time, not always, but almost all the time. So like, for example, my quail typically lay between about 11 a.m. to about 2 p.m. But I've got a lot of quail, so it's much more of a change. And typically we're in the same cage, they kind of sync up together and start laying around the same time together. But because I have so many cages, it's all different. But typically, about 95% of my eggs are laid between 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. That's when I collect, and then I go to the post office before 4 o'clock. So typically, you can find out when they're being laid, and then go collect them at that point in time. Joy's in the house. Says, hello all from Western Oregon. Thanks for the auctions. Had a great time winning 2 auctions for 240 eggs. Got to get to building more cages. LOL. That's awesome. Yeah, you had some great deals this weekend, so congratulations. And we will get them out this week for you. Anne's in the house from Sweden. Very cool. Welcome. We're glad you're here. Orlando says, hello to everyone. I do have a question. Can I put incubator in the room with more 85 degrees? Well, number one, it depends on what incubator you have. The only incubators that I would recommend that are in extreme temperatures would be GQF or Brincia. So it really depends on what incubator you have. If you do not have one of those, I would really try to get your incubator in a more consistent room that's a little bit higher, but it's not the end of the world. You can always insulate the incubator to help the heat stay in and keep it warm and things like that as well. 85 is not a big deal though. Kenneth says, I want to put some jumbo quail in Columbia, Illinois. Well, we've got plenty of them available on the website, and you can check it out at myshirefarm.com. Let's see. Tracy says the wilds. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thanks for staying on too. That's cool. I don't know that. Let's see. Excuse me. Farm Life says, what should I do if the males fight? I actually have a video. If you type into the YouTube search bar, aggression by Myshire Farm, that video will show up. It gives you a lot of tips and tricks. But first and foremost, if it's an all-male cage, you want to cover it up with a blanket, a towel, a tarp, whatever the case may be. Not let them have light. That will make them much more docile. Number 2, make sure it's 3 quail per square foot. I'm going to kill that fly. 3 quail per square foot. And make sure that there's always food and water available. Are a couple of the things you want to do. But that video has a lot more tips and tricks. April says, when the weather is rainy, is it normal for egg laying to reduce? No, not usually. They might change their pattern a little bit when the seasons change, like when it gets cold to warm or hot to cold or whatever the case may be. But no, not typically, unless there's no shelter. If they don't have anywhere to go to get out of that, then yeah, they'll get real mad and stop laying. Winnie Field says, how long is NPIP certification good for? You get tested yearly. We get tested quarterly, so we get tested 4 times a year. When we started, we were getting tested once a year, and then our NPIP said, well, you can be AI clean and NPIP certified. And we were like, cool, let's do that. And he was like, well, it's twice a year that I have to come out. And we were like, I don't care, whatever. And then they changed us to a hatchery, which means we have much higher standards now. And so they come out once every 3 months. But traditionally, you can do once a year. Souls in a bottle, but every state probably is a little bit different. I don't know. Some states, like, they don't even come out. You like self-test. I don't even know how that works or why you would even spend the money on that, but whatever. So you'd have to check locally. But that's typically how it works in Ohio. Souls in a Bottle says, greetings from everyone from Maine. This week will be my second hatch. They should be all done by next Sunday. That is awesome. Good luck. I wish you all the best. Obviously, keep me posted on the hatch. Let's see. Green Acre Quail Farms in the house. What to do if your quail stop laying eggs. I actually have a video on that as well. If you type into the search bar, hens not laying by Myshire Farm, that video will come up. That would be a very good video to watch. It gives you a ton of tips, just a couple quick tips off the top of my head. Make sure it's 3 quail per square foot. Make sure it's 5 hens to every 1 male. If it's not that, they will either get stressed out because they're overbreeding. If it's less than that, if it's more than that, then you're going to have fertility issues and start having territorial issues. Make sure that there's always food and water. They need 16 to 18 hours of light a day. Those are usually the big ones. But if you watch that video, it gives you a whole lot more. Mitchell's in the house, says hello from Quail Hollow Farm in Louisburg, Kentucky. Welcome, we're glad you're here. Dwayne's in the house. Hello all y'all from Sweet Home, Alabama. Well, welcome, we're glad you're here. Feather Connections Homestead says, did everyone get their QuailCon tickets and t-shirts? Hopefully. Aaron's in the house. And in an aviary setting, is the ratio hen to roux the same? It can vary a little bit. I think Jasmine Bass, when we were doing the Quail University, I know she put it in there. I don't do aviary setting, but I think she said she did like 3-to-1. And I think she said she did like 6 or 7 quail per square foot. I don't know that for sure, though. They sound right to me, but I don't know that for sure. Tracy says, is there a minimum hen to rooster ratio? Yep, 5 hens to 1 male. There's a lot of new people on, so I'll tell this story real quick for everybody. Back in the day when we started, we really wanted to become experts and professionals at quail raising so that we could help more people. And so what we did was we did our own experiments. And so we put, we had, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it doesn't matter. We had a lot of cages. Now I want to know, 3, 6, 9, we had 12 cages. And in each cage, we put a different ratio in there. So for example, we had a 1-to-1 ratio, 1 hen to 1 male. We had a 2 hens to 1 male, 3 hens to 1 male, 4 hens to 1 male, so on and so forth. And we went up to 10-to-1. Well, obviously we got rid of the 10-to-1 ratio and the 9-to-1 ratio and the 8-to-1 ratio very quickly because the fertility was just junk. Like there was just the male couldn't keep up with all the hens. We got rid of the 1, 2, and 3 very quickly because the hens were getting way too beat up. In fact, in the 1-to-1 and the 2-to-1, the hens actually didn't make it. We had to put them down because they got beat up so bad because the male was just way too aggressive and way too aggressive. He overbred way too much. And when she tried to tell him to no, he didn't listen. So, we narrowed those down. So what we found was for the best fertility ratio, and for the best looking hens, you want a 5-to-1. Now, 4-to-1 or 6-to-1 will work. The 6-to-1, you'll have a little bit less of a fertility. It's not a big deal. The hens will look about the same. The 4-to-1, you'll have a little bit better fertility, but the hens will get overbred a little bit, and so you'll start losing feathers, and they won't be as nice. So a 5-to-1 is ideal, and that's why I say that. So a lot of things that we talk about, it's because we've tested and tried ourselves. April says, we have had rainy weather for a week. We were getting 30 eggs a day. We have them covered and protected now. We do good to get 20. Well, if it's raining, then most likely the sun wasn't out as well. I would assume that it had to do with the sun more than it had to do with the rain. But you know, if it was heavy weather, then that could make a difference. You know, if it's like, if it rains one day and then the next 5 days it's sunny and bright, it won't affect anything. But if you have, you know, a constant rain for a few days or for a week, that could stress them out a little bit. But they'll pick it back up in the next week or so. Let's see. Tracy says, can I give baby chicks fermented feed? No, you do not want to do that. It's way too thick for them. They don't develop it, and they don't, what's the word I want to use? They don't process it very well. So if you're going to do fermented feed, I really don't recommend you doing it until they're about 4 weeks old. And I would recommend just a regular crumble feed. Do not blend your feed. Oh. I've got to get that video done. I was doing a bunch of videos earlier, and then I realized, man, I'm forgetting one. I'm going to do a video on do not blend, or do not grind your feed. So just normal crumble will work just great, but I wouldn't ferment. It's a very good question, though. Robert says, I'm new to Quail, found your channel. I'm loving it. Awesome. Thank you very much. I'm glad we could help. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Feathered connections, not talking to me. Alicia Flippin is announced, do caged quail need grit on game bird crumble? No, they do not. It's a very good question as well. And I think Tracy asked the same, do you need to give baby quail grit? Nope, you never need to give them grit. They do completely fine without. You might want to give them grit if they're in an aviary setting and on the ground, but if they're in cages or a brooder, if they're off the ground, they never need grit ever. In fact, we've never given it to them. Dane is in this. All my hens that I hatched from you are laying machines. Not sure what to do with all these eggs. LOL. That's a good, bad problem to have. I get it. But it's going to have you step up to the next level. But I'm glad they're laying well for you, and I love to hear it. So cool. Awesome. Oh, the article. Yeah, it happened a couple months ago. I just never said anything. She took some liberty into saying some stuff that is just not true at all. I don't know how. Like, she talks about old world quail, and it's like, no, we never talked about old world. We don't have it. No. So I just didn't mention it because there's bad information in it. And she just like started doing her own research. According to Wikipedia, Coturnix is a genus of 5 extant species of old world quail. It's not true. These species are distributed throughout Africa, Australia, and formerly New Zealand. There's other stuff. Anyways, congratulations, Zach Myshire, on your newspaper article. Thank you. I mean, it was still a good article. She just put like a paragraph in there that we were like, where did this come from? Like, why didn't you just call us to ask more questions? Anne says, I want to learn more about how to breed different colors with each other. If you have any questions, you can feel free to ask. We'd be happy to help. The 80s Room says, how is the smell for keeping quail? I have neighbors. If they're outside, then they really don't smell at all. If they're inside, as long as you have good circulation and a good cleaning program, then it's really not a big deal. It also depends on how many you have. You know, if you have like 5 hens and 1 male, or 10 hens and 2 males, it's really not a big deal at all. If you start getting hundreds of quail, then you have to start keeping an eye on Lee Kessner is in the house, says, where is QuailCon? It is here at Myshire Farm in Miamisburg, Ohio, September 2nd and 3rd. Tony's in the house from Toronto. Welcome. We're glad you're here. Robert says, thank you very much. I just booked Mark. There you go. Delaney is in the house. Hey, Zach, from me and Robert, thank you for the auction order today. Not a problem. Glad we could help. And congratulations on the win and on the good deal. And I am glad that Robert was able to eat. So there you go. It's a little inside thing from earlier. Juanita says, how do you obtain an egg producer's license? If you just, I mean, it's different in every state. So just type in egg producer's license in whatever state you're in, and it should take you right to it. I think you can, I think it's on the USDA website as well. But typically it's a different location and a different department. So if you just type that in, it'll take you to where you need to go. Steve says, can my chickens go through my 51-inch poop and food that I throw on the ground to make my mulch pile? Is that cool for the chickens to do and go through it? Yes, but I'm not a chicken person at all. Don't believe in chickens. Think they're the worst thing ever. Quail is the way to go. But yeah, I mean, chickens can scratch through all the, unless you're talking about the quail poop. And in that case, yes, the chickens can still go through the quail poop and scratch through it. That's not a big deal at all. But quail cannot do the same. They're too small. April says, have the issues with Celadon birds and eggs worked out? We're working on them now. So far, so good, but it really depends a lot on your breeding program and how much time you're willing to dedicate to it. Richard says, gotcha, thank you so much. I was oh God, where'd you go? Asking to sell quail meat and eggs. That makes complete sense why my, where did you go again? Yeah, so, I mean, you need to look at your local laws, but the majority of the time, if you're going to be shipping across state lines, then you need to be Npip. If you're not going to be shipping across state lines, you don't need to be Npip. You just need an egg producer's license. Deborah's in Newcastle, Ontario. Welcome. We're glad you're here. Deborah says, my quail seem to lay after 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. It's not too bad. You can feed them at night and go collect the eggs. The warm part of the day is over. So it's not the end of the world. You can manipulate that to change it, but I don't want to get into that right now until I write down exactly what I want to say, because it can get a little confusing. Alamo Quail Farm is in the house. Welcome, glad you're here. Oh, there we are. Ray Cabin, Utah Homestead is in the house. Ray Cabin, Quail, Utah. Really appreciate Zach and Myshire Farm. Thank you very much. Glad we could help along your journey. Deborah says, as soon as they reached 8 weeks old, the males got beat up. Make sure it's 3 hens to 1 male. No, it's not. Make sure it's 5 hens to 1 male and 3 quail per square foot. And if you've got an all-male cage, cover that sucker up so they're not getting light and they'll chill out. Joe says, what do I need in Illinois to sell meat and eggs? Again, you got to look up your local state and your state and local laws. But typically, if you're selling across state lines, you need to be Npip. We've got videos on that. You can type in N as in Nancy, P as in Paul, I as in, I don't know, ice cream, P as in Paul, Npip. And that's how you would start with shipping across state lines. If you're not shipping across state lines, then you would just need an egg producer's license, which you'd have to look up what that entails in your state. Erica Willis is in the house. That's what I was saying. We've got Npip. If you type that into the search bar, Npip by Myshire Farm, there's a couple Npip videos. 2 of them discuss exactly what it entails, what it does, the website, where to go on the website, things like that. And then there's one from our Npip instructor that kind of goes into what they do and how they try to help and focus on you. So you can check that out as well. Erica Willis says, Zach, my husband and I are in agreement. The 21 eggs that hatch are close enough to the 25 that would have been a 50% hatch rate. What? the 21 eggs that hatched are close enough to the 25. That would have been we still guarantee a 50% hatch rate, so feel free to reach out to us. I think last week you were saying that you had an issue with either the power or the incubator or something like that. But again, you're more than welcome to contact us. That's why we've got the 50% hatch rate guarantee. It doesn't really matter if it's shipping or incubators or weather or whatever the case may be. But I'm glad you got a decent amount. Erica says it's not your fault that we had no power for 3 days. There you go. I knew it was something. We were impressed that any hatch. Yeah, I mean, with no power for 3 days and you still hatch 21, that's not too bad at all. Deborah says I have 14 hens. Not too bad. So you're probably getting 10 to 12 eggs a day. I'm liking it. Congratulations. Daniel's in the house from Alabama. Welcome. We're glad you're here. Yusuf is in the house. Says hello, everybody. I was doing farm chores. Welcome. We're glad you're here. Bob Cole's in the house. Says howdy. Do they lay less in hot weather like chickens? Nope, they do not. As long as all the numbers are right. 5 hens to every 1 male, 3 quail per square foot. They can get out of the elements of, the sun, the rain, the weather, and they're getting 16 to 18 hours of light a day, then no, they won't change at all. Deborah says, I just moved 5 hens to 1 male and put it in a separate cage, 9 hens and 2 males today. Well, I have an issue with the 9 hens, 2 males. No, it's close enough. So it's a 4-to-1 ratio. Again, 5 to 1's ideal. The 4 to 1, the hens will get beat up a little bit. Usually it's not like picked on. It's like just losing some feathers, but not very much. It's not worth it. Don't worry about it at all. So yeah, you're still in that, like, if the green zone is 5 to 1, then the 4 to 1 or the 6 to 1's in the yellow, and then after that it's in the red. So you're in the yellow. You're not doing too bad at all. Not a big deal at all. Yusa says I have 7 hens and get 7 eggs every day. Very cool. Congratulations. Daniel says, how do you program an Npip digital thermometer controller? Have no idea. Sorry, cannot help you with that at all. Yusa says sometimes even 8 eggs without artificial light. Very cool. False Farm says, why is your finger yellow? I don't know. Oh, I do know. Farm life. My whole hand was yellow earlier. I cleaned most of it up. Let's see. Miss PJ Mahomes is in the house. Hello, do you ship live Bob White? We do not carry Bob White, just Coturnix. Bob Whites are more wild. Coturnix are more bred for meat and egg production, for like self-sufficient use. Farm Life says going to put more eggs in the incubator tomorrow. Awesome. Good luck. I wish you all the best. Deborah's not talking to me. James is in the house from New York. Oh, dear God, where'd you go? Welcome. We're glad you're here. April says, is peanut butter a good source of protein for quail? No, it is not. Do not want to give them peanut butter. Miss PJ Mahomes says, okay, thanks. I would like to order Coturnix. Coturnix are available on our website at myshirefarm.com. And we've got a lot of different options, a lot of different varieties, good descriptions on there so you can kind of decide what works best for you. Are 17-gram eggs too big to hatch? Nope. They're in the green zone, if you will. You really don't have an issue until they're over 18 grams. But they will need more humidity than a normal 10-gram egg. The bigger the egg, the more humidity you need at lockdown. So, a 17-gram egg might not sound too big, except for it is big for quail. But, a 10-gram egg for a standard, you're almost doubling the size. So, humidity is very important when you're hatching out larger eggs. Just a minute. Tutorial says how many quail for 200 square feet. It's 3 quail per square feet. So that'd be 600. Deborah says, you think there's an issue with having 6 birds, 5 hens and 1 male in a 4.5 square foot cage? You would want to, eliminate some of that space. When you give them too much space, and this goes back to the same thing, so, 3 quail per square foot works best for Coturnix quail. Now, some people might say that that's overcrowding. It's not. They have plenty of room, but they are very low on the food chain, and they really like to stay together. They kind of got like a herd mentality kind of deal. So when you overcrowd them and don't give them enough space, they get aggravated, they get aggressive, they get angry, and they kill each other. Now, the opposite happens when you give them too much space. If you give them too much space, they start becoming very territorial and real big jerks, and they'll start attacking the other ones because they want their space too. So giving them too much space is not a good thing as well. So you really want it to be somewhere around 3 quail per square foot. Renee says, but you can put a divider in there and eliminate some of that space until you get some more. Renee says, I have jumbo wilds and I'm new, so my hen started laying 4 weeks ago and I am changing to wild game bird starter. Our eggs are very, very soft. Do I need to add something to their diet? Yeah, they do not need to be on a game bird starter anymore. You need to put them on a layer feed. The soft eggs is because of calcium deficiency. And so when you get a layer feed, typically that calcium increases substantially, but you have to lower that protein to get to the right percentage of calcium. Now, if you type into the YouTube search bar feed, F-E-E-D, by Myshire Farm, there's quite a bit of videos on there that will tell you exactly what we feed. It'll show you the label, this, that, and the other, that you can kind of see what we do. But yeah, the biggest issue is you're giving them the wrong feed right now. They do not need to be on a grower or starter feed. They need to be on a layer feed. It does not have to be a wild game bird. In fact, it shouldn't be a wild game bird. You can look at an all-purpose, an all-flock. You can look at a pheasant starter. Even a chicken layer feed will work fine. As long as it's a crumble. But those videos will give you more information on that. Yeah, it's just a lack of calcium. Which if you need to increase your calcium, you can add oyster shells to your feed. However, there's more issues than just the calcium in there, which is why you do need to change your feed. Deborah says, do you send any eggs to Canada, Zach? I do not. I am sorry. Not at this time. Tracy says, I keep getting conflicting info. How many jumbo wilds can stay in a 6 square foot cage? It's 3 quail per square foot, so 18. So 15 and 3. Bass is in the house. How long 1 week baby chicks can survive without water? Never done that experiment. They should always have water. They should never run out. If they are running out, then you need to put a separate waterer in there. But not a good idea for them to ever run out of food or water. It needs to be always accessible. And that's at any age, whether they're day olds or week olds or 6 weeks olds or whatever. If they're running out by the time you do it again, then you need to add another waterer or add more feed or whatever the case may be. It's a good question. James Carter's in the house. Welcome. We're glad you're here. Buster's in the house. Hi to all. Late will rewatch. Well, we're glad you showed up. And just like Chris Karn says from Slightly Redneck, we don't take attendance. We're just happy you're here. James says, guess what? I had 80% hatch rate the last time I hatched quail. Figured out what I was doing wrong. Awesome. Congratulations. My quail drink water like fish. Yes, they will, especially during the heat, for sure. Does anyone have a good splay leg fix? Well, typically you want to fix why they have splay leg. So I understand what you're saying, but the reason they have splay leg is because you're flooring either in the incubator or in the brooder. Now you might not think it's very slippery, but to little baby tiny chicks, it can be very slippery if it's plastic or anything like that. Blue automotive paper towels can be put down. That'll help a lot. You can use like a rubber mat that like you would put into a shelf, like a shelf liner in the kitchen. You can put that down. That helps a lot. But to fix the splay leg, you really got to resolve the issue so you don't have splay leg. Now, with that being said, you can wrap it with a rubber band. You can put them in a shot glass for a few hours. or you can put a Band-Aid with their feet together for about a day, and that'll help as well. Maybe, sometimes, not always. Npip says, Myshire Farm, I found that feeding my birds at night only attracts rats and mice. I feed them in the morning and collect eggs in the evening. There you go. Yeah, if they're outside, then that would make sense. We feed twice a day, but ours are inside and secured. So yeah, that's a good point. That's something that people need to think about as well. No one's talking to me. And Barth is in the house. Welcome. We're glad you're here. James says, Zach, been away a bit. What's new, exciting colors you working on? We introduced 3 new ones this year. It's the Cosmos, the Amber Fees, and the Scarlet Fees. And we're currently working on jumbo size, and Celadons is currently what we're working on, and a Sex Link. But I don't know, the Sex Link might be ready sooner rather than what I think. I'd like the Sex Links to be done by QuailCon. That'd be great. Celadons won't be ready until next year. And the Jumbo probably won't be ready for another year and a half. When we do things, it takes a long time for us to do it, but we don't want to do it and then have to take it away because we put it on too soon. Like, we work through all of it. So, it takes us a while to do things, but we do it right, so I'm cool with that. Steve Berry says, my Pharaohs and Jumbo Whites I bought in last February. Can I send them back to you and get some fresh ones? Great birds. No, sorry. You can order some more, but we don't take back any quail, unfortunately. Once they leave the farm, they are no longer welcome back with biosecurity. But I like the idea. John says, Myshire Farm, Zach, how's the multicolored quail doing? He's doing great. I mean, it was a male, and he's living his life. He's living his best life. I'm actually thinking we're probably going to move him tomorrow. I think I'm going to put him into population. We'll see. And Barth is in the house from Minnesota. Welcome. We're glad you're here. Your beard is getting closer to Duck Dynasty, Quail Dynasty. There you go. I'm probably going to grow it out a little bit more. It's not been too terribly hot. It's usually when it gets extremely hot out when I go, I'm done. And then I shave it off. But I'm not there yet. Emma says, is white wing pie the same gene as dotted white and English white? And if not, can you explain the difference, please? They are not. White wing pie can be a lot of different things. So I would need a specific example to try to do it, but dotted white and English white are 2 different things. So the dotted white is the white bird with the black dot on its head. The English white is a completely all white bird with no dot. Really no difference at all except for the dot. Not a big deal at all. The white wing is usually a different colored quail that have white wings, like the jumbo white wings. Some of them can even be tuxedo, where they have a white chest and white wings, but a different colored back. So the pied is more of a tuxedo than it is a dotted or English white. Cheryl's in the house from Utah. Welcome. We're glad you're here. Shelly says, anyone want to laugh? I bought 6 Celadon chicks from a breeder, hoping for 5 to 1, which we all knew would turn into 5 roosters and 1 hen. I got 6 hens back to the breeder to get a full-grown boy. There you go. Hey, it could have turned out. That's one of the best ways it could have turned out. So that's not too bad at all. Yusa says, question. Whenever I advertise for eating eggs locally, I get a rush of orders for a dozen. They buy it once and try, and after that I have 0 orders. How do I have customers base that just buy weekly? It's a great question. I would like to do a video on that. That's a good YouTube video. I need to think about it for a little bit. It's a good question, Yusuf. You can do a couple different things. Number 1, you can follow up with them. Number 2, you can give price breaks. if they sign like a month contract and say, okay, well, they are $10 a dozen. I'm not saying it has to be, but they're $10 a dozen if you buy now. If you want to buy for 2 weeks, they're $9 a dozen. If you buy a month long, they're $6 a dozen. And then, yes, you're taking a little bit less money. However, you're getting consistent business, and then hopefully they sign up for that next month. You could sign them up for a contract, follow up with them, send them a postcard in the mail or a quick text, a day or two after you purchase them. Supply a pair of free quail egg scissors with first purchase so that it's easier for them to use for eating eggs. Maybe give them like a little book, like, a 3-page little folded book with different recipes on there. Or offer them a recipe book that you can sell to them so that they have more recipes to try. Those would be a couple ideas off the top of my head. Some of those are actually really good ideas. Patty's Garden Feather says, how cold tolerant are these quail? Would they be okay in a hutch during winter? Yep, they do just fine. They adapt very well to weather, whether it's hot or cold or in between. As long as they can get out of the elements. They need somewhere to go to get out of the rain, snow, wind, sleet, whatever. 80s Room says, are quail better fried or baked? Is there anything better than fried, though? Like, they're good either way. I prefer grilled, but isn't everything better fried? Let's see. Peter's in the house from Dudley, the UK. Welcome. We're glad you're here. You're up late tonight. Emma Ball's in Birmingham, UK. Very cool. RDA Live says, when do they start to lay eggs? It depends on your environment a lot, but typically they should start laying around 6 to 8 weeks. They need 16 to 18 hours of light a day. They need the right food. They need 3 quail per square foot. They need 5 hens to every 1 male. So you need to have all the environments correct, requirements and environment correct. But if all those are correct, 6 to 8 weeks is when they start laying eggs. When they're 6 to 8 weeks old. It's a good question. Ours lay at 6 almost every time. I mean, I can't remember. It's been years since our quail laid after 6 weeks old. And if they did now, I'd be freaked out. I'd be like, what is your problem? Start going through the cage, and calling my vet, calling Npip, like, hey, they're late on laying eggs. I don't know what's going on. But we've got a system down. Gmill 23 is in the house. I've heard you say larger eggs have less fertility. Why is that? I don't know the science behind it. It's just the way it is. Probably should know that. I just don't. But yeah, I mean, typically the larger the egg, the harder. I mean, anything over 18 grams is usually a double yolker. Those hardly ever hatch, and if they do, you don't want them to hatch because there's usually deformities or bad things. But yeah, the larger the egg, the harder it is to hatch, the higher humidity, which a lot of people don't do. That's a big one. Usually the larger eggs come from larger birds. And so the larger the males and the larger the hens, the lazier they are and they don't breed as much. But I'm spitballing here. I don't know why. I don't know why. I just know that it is. Don't listen to any of that. I have no idea why. I wish I could answer you, and I probably should know, but I don't. Mike is in the house, first time watching. Thanks. Well, welcome. We're glad you're here. Glad you can show up. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, and we're happy you're a part of this community. Maria's in the house getting 40 eggs ready for incubation. They will be the first offsprings of the jumbo white. So excited. Awesome. Good luck. I wish you all the best, and I'm sure you're going to do great. Shelly says, can't wait to see my jumbo white wings grow out. They are really pretty. They're really cool. Quail University's in the house, says, hey, Quail peeps. This is Linda from Quail U joining you from Sacramento. Good to see everybody. Welcome, Linda. Glad you're here. Yusuf says, question, Zach, any updates on when live breeders will be available? They're available on the website now. Cheryl Beck says, does anyone have information on raising quail for dog food? I don't know what you'd need. Like, what questions do you have? You raise them the same way as any other quail, or for any other reason you'd raise them, and then you just bloodless call them at whatever age you want to. You know, I mean, it depends on how big your dog is and, you know, what the diet is. So you might be bloodless calling them at 3 weeks old or 6 weeks old or 8 weeks old or 10 weeks old. I don't know. And we've got, you know, if you type in bloodless call by Myshire Farm, that video will show up on how to bloodless call them, and then you just feed them raw. But you raise them the same. But if you have a specific question, I'd be happy to answer it. For Zoo Florida is in the house. Is sex linked the same as being able to feather sex? No. Sex linked is when they hatch out on day one, and you can tell male from female because there's 2 different colors that hatch. One's always a hen, one's always a male. Feather sexable is when they are 3 weeks old. You can tell by the pattern on their chest whether they're hen or male. But sex links, you know, on day one by the color of their feathers. Yusa says, okay, then I'm ordering breeders ASAP. They are on the website right now. Shelly says, in South Carolina, you don't need any license for Coturnix quail eggs. They fall into their own special category. You do need Npip for shipping out of state. Yep, absolutely. And then you would need an egg producer's license if you sell to grocery stores, restaurants, or farmers markets. But yeah, I mean, I think there's only one state that I know of that you actually need a permit for Coturnix quail. Everywhere else, you don't need it. You don't need anything. Nana's Nerd says, none of my standards have laid a blue egg, but I have noticed blue tinted on the inside of the shells. Then you don't have celadons. I'm sorry. S.O. Swanson's in the house from Mississippi. Welcome. We're glad you're here. Let's see. S.O. Swanson says, what? 57 likes and 94 in attendance? That does not calculate. Well, I've lost some along the way, too. So we've only got 87 people watching. If you can, hit the like button to support the channel. We are up to 70 likes, which is pretty cool. So if you can support the channel by just hitting the like button, I would greatly appreciate it. We are here for you and trying to do our best. So if you can support us by doing that, we will call it even. James says, yes, I did a dry hatch due to the humidity issues inside my cabin. So I put the incubator on the floor, did not add any water until lockdown, humidity up to 70%. Bam, 30 out of the 40. That's awesome. Congratulations. I would increase your humidity an extra 5% at lockdown, and that should help a lot more. Yusa says, okay, that makes sense. Local farms do it for chicken eggs. Here they call it CSA shares. I believe I usually sold for $6 a dozen here in Massachusetts. I'll do $4 a dozen for all-time customers. There you go. Yeah, some of those are really good ideas. I'd have to expand on that more in my video, but yeah, I think you could take 2 or 3 of those ideas and run with it and grow your customer base dramatically. Abba Love says, hello, this is my first time watching and hatching quail eggs. When can I put young chicks in with older ones? That's a very good question. I'm going to give you a 2-part answer real quick. Part 1 is you can put chicks together if they are a week different. So day olds and 1 week olds can go together. 1 week olds and 2 week olds can go together. But day olds and 2 weeks old cannot go together. They need to stay separate. Now, if you have an existing covey, it's not called a flock because they're quail, it's called a covey. Not that it really matters. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't really care. It's one of Jenna's pet peeves, though. Anyways, if you have a covey of existing quail that are laying for you and you're hatching out new ones to add to that covey, they need to be 6 to 8 weeks old. Long story short, it can't hurt to keep them away for 8 weeks. However, the rule of thumb is once they start laying, so if they start laying at 6 weeks old, you can put them in a week after they start laying and they'll do fine. If you do that before then, the older males and hens are just going to destroy your younger ones. So they need to be laying for at least a week. That was a very long answer to a very easy question, but hopefully you understand the process a little bit more. The 80s Farm says, on my silver fox rabbit, I'm using 1 by 1/2 inch wire. Will that work for quail, or is it too large? Nope, that would be just fine for quail, as long as they are at least 3 weeks old. Would not work for babies, obviously. Yusuf says, for live birds, can I choose if they are jumbos or not? I do believe we still have some jumbo wild breeder sets on the website available. So yeah, you can purchase those. Nana's Nerd says, I just had butter basin pan fried quail for supper. Yum, that does sound really good. James says, put them in a brooder heater, was already going, found them all in one corner, lost 5 first week. Now they all are making lots of noise. I think they do that when they get low on food and water. Yeah, they'll let you know when they're not happy, that's for sure. Tracy English says, loved Quail University. Absolutely. Like I said, out of all the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people that's taken it, we have 100% customer feedback, which is unheard of and absolutely amazing. So make sure you check that out. If you don't know what Quail University is, go to our website, myshirefarm.com. There's a tab that says Quail University. Click on that. That will give you information. It will take you, that link will take you to the website, and you can, read it over. You can see some courses that are in there. You definitely want to check it out. It is worth being checked out for sure. Quail University says, I'm so happy. Oh, not talking to me. Bags of Love says, is it okay to move 6-week-old quail into Wynola cages? I worry about them trying to get them out from the gap under the feeder. Yep, 6 weeks is completely fine. We put them in there at 3 weeks old. Worst case scenario is you can take a little piece of cardboard, like, rip the lid off of a Amazon box or something, put that in between the roll, like the cage and the feeder, so that it's backed up until they get a little bit larger. But yeah, 6 weeks, they won't have an issue at all. It's a good question. Eustace says, I just don't want to have a bunch of different quail egg sizes. I want all about the same. Yep, then you can breed for that. That's not a big deal at all. Emma Ball says, Zach, after you put the rude customer to rights last week, have people been noticeably nicer to your wife since? I certainly hope so. Yeah, again, we didn't get a lot of that. It must have been like just a bad week. I don't know. She just had multiple that week. Still think it's absolutely ridiculous, but no, I don't think we've had any angry customers since. Yeah, no angry customers since, and I would say the majority of people do treat Jenna fairly and nice and kind and all that jazz. But man, when people want to complain, I don't mind if you complain that way to me. Well, I'll tell you where to go too, but it's, you need to show respect, you need to give respect, we need to be more tolerant, but on the same token, there's lines you just don't cross. So when you start yelling or cussing or threatening, you're done. But they don't do that with me. Like, I've maybe had 5, maybe 10. I think 10 is stretching it a lot, but I've probably had 10 or less customers like go past those limits in the past 12 years, 13 years, however long we've been doing it. 12 years. And it just seems like Jenna gets 1 a month or 2 a month or 1 every 2 months or whatever. And it's just like, you can talk to me that way. I mean, we can do that. But if I find out you did that to my wife, you're done. I don't need you. I don't need your business. I'm good. Anywho, it's a good question. No one's talking to me. Bass says, I bought 100 eggs from you a few weeks ago and sent them overseas, and most are currently on lockdown, so wish me luck. Well, good luck. I wish you all the best. Hopefully you'll get a decent hatch rate, or a good hatch rate. I'd love for you to get a great hatch rate. But I do wish you all the best, for sure. April says, I learned the hard way it takes 50 eggs to make a quarter jar for pickled eggs. Who wants that many and is willing to pay more? There you go. Weak Ankles Kayaker 81 says, congratulations on your auction win today. When colony breeding, how do you get the male to get along? They seem to be attacking each other 5-to-1 ratio. We really don't have that problem. Make sure it's 5-to-1 ratio, 3 quail per square foot. Make sure that the food and water is always there. That's pretty much it. So if you do have that issue, then you probably just have an aggressive male that you probably just need to switch out, because they should get along just fine. The one thing that you can do just to confirm that it is an aggressive male, it could just be they got on each other's nerves and now they won't leave each other alone. Take both males out, put them in a dark box for about an hour, 30 minutes, 45 minutes. Dark, small box. Don't give them very much room at all. Put them back into the cage, and then you'll be able to determine whether you need to keep those males or not. But most likely that will fix your issue. Julie says, what humidity do you need to incubate the jumbo eggs at to ensure hatching without shrink wrapping? The humidity doesn't really matter during the incubation process. You can do a dry hatch, you can do 35%, not a big deal. At lockdown, you really need it to be between 70 and 75% humidity at lockdown. The 80s Room says, just tip reptile people love quail chicks and eggs. Yes, they do. We sell thousands and thousands and thousands of our older males and older hens to reptile owners and falconers as well. Mbar says, what colored eggs does the Pearl Caturnix quail lay? All of our quail lay the normal spotted brown and dark brown eggs. I don't know. Like the normal quail egg. We don't offer any celadons. Base Places says, Zach, on the live quail, what sizes are the breeder sets? I don't know what you mean. Like, what's the quantity? I don't know. There's different options on there. I think the breeder sets are 8 hens and 2 males. The all-female set is 10 or 20 hens. The teen sets are 10 or 20. The male sets are 10 or 20. I think. I don't know. I don't remember. It'll say on there, though. S.O. Swanson says, in the past, the breeder sets were standard because of the growth issues with the jumbos. Yes, that is true. These are older, so these are ones that we just didn't want to use. Our standard here is they need to be at least 12 and a half ounces at 8 weeks old. And so there was like 30 of them out of, I don't know, 800 that were like 11 to 12 at 8 weeks old, which is still really good. They're definitely jumbo. We just didn't want to put them in our breeding cages. So we're selling those. So they're fully grown. Now, we won't sell jumbos that are 3 weeks old, because in that point, that three week mark when we ship them puts such a stress on them that they'll lose a ton of weight and not grow. They'll still get to a good size, but you'll lose literally ounces because of the shipping. Now, when they're fully grown, like these are literally 9 weeks old, then you don't have to deal with that issue because they're almost fully grown and they're already massive. So that's a good point, but that's why we have a couple. We don't have a lot of them, but we have a couple. Julie Ford says, can you hatch and raise jumbo quail with regular sized quail? If so, will you be able to separate before the quail reach maturity? Yes, you can. Now, yes, you can. Wouldn't be a big deal at all. We normally don't, but there's sometimes, like if we're doing a massive hatch, like right now, we put in a crap ton of eggs. We have probably 2,700 grow outs right now. They're all in the cages. They're all in the brooders, and there's, jumbo wilds with pearls and everything like that for grow outs. But we will separate the wilds from everything else later on and then keep growing them out. So yeah, that's not a big deal at all. You usually want to separate them when they're about, well, you really want to start separating them when they're about 6 weeks old, if not sooner. 3 weeks old would be ideal, separating the jumbos from the colors, but if not, 6 to 8 weeks old is not the end of the world. Lee says, love your support for your wife. Thank you very much. She's the boss, so got to take care of her. Weak Ankle says, thank you, Zach. Not a problem. Glad. Oh, yeah, not a problem. Congratulations again. Emma Ball says, I've been trying to work out these mystery 11 birds I have recently, and I heard that you cannot breed Andalusian to Andalusian. Is this true? Yes, that is true. Can you always tell that the bird is carrying the gene? No, you cannot. But you really don't want to, you definitely don't. I don't understand it. This is one of my pet peeves. I can't, no, you gotta watch my mouth, is what I needed to Oh, okay. No, you do not need to breed you should not breed Andalusian to Andalusian. Now, Emma, you are in the UK, so I know you don't have any, or you shouldn't have any birds from anyone in the States. Long story short is, to get Andalusian, you literally had to inbreed the crap out of that bird to just isolate the Andalusian gene. Fine, not a big deal. Now you can take that Andalusian and you can cross it with Pharaoh and you know, spruce up the bloodline a little bit. But when you breed Andalusian to Andalusian, all you're asking for is massive health issues. You're going to have low fertility. You're going to have poor hatches. You're going to have failure to thrive. You're going to have bulgy eyes. You're going to have albinos. It's just not healthy. Now, I'm a big believer in anyone breeding silver for a specific silver. So if you see someone selling Andalusian, or if you see someone selling, I don't know, a specific color out of the silvers, because that's where the Andalusian came from, is from the silvers, from the SSCs. If you see someone breeding that specific color, that bird is so inbred, it's not good customer service. It's not setting anyone up for success, because you're going to continuously have issues. Now, if you do go that route and you really want Andalusian, it's not the end of the world. However, you cannot breed that thing to Andalusian much longer, which means, let's say you have, I don't know, let's say you have 3 Andalusians. Let's say you have 2 hens and a male. You really have to put that with different genes, because who knows how long it's been inbred, and now you have to inbreed it to keep it going, which means you have to introduce new blood to it, meaning you have to add Pharaoh, or you have to add this, or you have to add this to it, whatever the case may be. And with that being said, you're going to lose the Andalusian. So now you have to inbreed again just to get the Andalusian back. So it's just not a long-term thing. You know what I mean? Just like when people claim that they're selling jumbo pearls or jumbo Italians or jumbo Tibetans. Like, it's not a long-term thing. It's not a lasting thing. They don't last that way. You know what I mean? Now, it could just be that they don't understand it. I mean, we did that with the Tibetans. Way back in the day, we got our Tibetans to jumbo size, and we were really, really excited about it. It stayed true for 2 generations. We put them on the website, and we had a breeder of ours, a fellow breeder of ours that had been in the business for probably 20, 30 years, call us and say, hey, I take those down. Don't call them jumbo. You're going to lose the weight on them. And I was like, no, we're going to selectively breed. And he's like, dude, I'm telling you. And I said, okay. And just like that next generation, they weren't jumbo anymore. And I went, so then the next generation, they still weren't jumbo. And then we got them back to jumbo. And then 3 generations later, they weren't jumbo anymore. And we were doing it right. Like, we were doing it just like we're doing any of the other jumbos. They just don't hold the weight. Just like Italians, golds, they do not hold the weight long term. So if you breed, for example, you've never seen us sell Andalusian or lavender or anything like that, because we're not setting you up for success. We sell the SSCs, the Schofield Silver Collection, because we do not inbreed the silvers. So are you going to hatch out all silvers? No, you're not. But all of them will carry the silver gene. You will get some silvers out of that. And with those silvers, you know that you can breed over and over and over for at least 3 to 4 generations without having to add back to wilds or to golds or to Tibetans or whatever the case may be. So like our silvers are all silver hens, and then our males are all colors. So we've got wilds to produce silver pharaohs, we've got Tibetans to produce charcoal, we've got golds to produce the silver and golds. We've got all these different colors in there. And so because we don't hatch silver to silver, you will not breed true. Just won't do it. But I don't want you to breed true, because if you do breed true, that means it's inbred. And so you're going to have health issues, and that's not what we want you to have. So that was a very long rant, and I apologize to everybody out there, because maybe 2 people wanted to hear all of that. But I think it's very important that you guys understand that you can inbreed, and that it's not the end of the world. However, you cannot inbreed forever. You see what I'm saying? So you'll see a lot of people online talk crap about me and say that our birds don't breed true. You're dang right they don't breed true. I don't want them to breed true. There's only a few certain colors that I'm okay with them breeding true, and that's only because I have so many different cages, I don't have to inbreed. I can continue to switch males from cage 1 to cage 30 and never inbreed those, and they can breed 100% true. But no, I do not want my pearls to hatch 100% true. I don't want my fab fees to hatch 100% true. I don't want my silvers ever to breed 100% true, or my Germans to ever breed true. Because that means all I'm doing is putting German with German, silver to silver, and that is just going to cause my customers to have headaches. Maybe not in that hatch, maybe not in the hatch after that, but within 2 or 3 years, you're just going to start having horrible hatch rates, horrible fertility rates, and you're going to have buggy eyes and deformities and all kinds of nasty stuff that no one needs to deal with. And to me, that's my job. My job is to not get you to breed 100% true. My job is to have you continue to breed without health issues, where you're getting the biggest size, the most consistent egg layers, pretty colors, and you have the ability to breed that to breed true. So anything you get from us, you can breed true within 1 or 2 hatches. That's not a big deal at all. And I can walk you through how to do it, and I'm not against that. But I'm against it because if I do it, then you can't, if that all makes sense. I'm done ranting, I swear. But I am going to kill this stupid, stinking, ignoramus fly. Nope. Oh, you mother. I lost it. It'll be back. Hopefully that helps a lot. Or it made a lot of people mad. I don't know. Andy Rabbit's in the house. Welcome. We're glad you're here. I probably pissed a lot of people off. But if you can, we're only 12 likes away from hitting 100. So, I mean, if there's 12 of you that haven't hit the like button and are not mad at me, then if you could do that, that'd be really cool. Andy Rabbit says, I'm driving but listening. Well, welcome. We're glad you're here. Emma says, I have a bird that looks like an autumn amber, but the lighter amber tones are gray. What color would this be? So that would be a silver. So that would be, the undertone would I would assume is a very light silver. And so we call that a silver and gold. Yours is kind of an autumn amber, so it has the roux gene in it too, unless it doesn't, I don't know. But so really it's just an autumn amber that was bred with a silver at one point in time, and so you get that really cool color. Now, that's what I prefer. I prefer the charcoals. I love the charcoals, the really, really dark silvers. But again, we'll walk you through and talk you through how to get those colors. So if you take Tibetan and silver and breed those together, you're going to get those really dark charcoal colors. They're gorgeous. If you breed silver and wild together, you're going to get a feather sexable silver bird, which is awesome. If you breed silver and Italians or silver and golds together, you're going to get the silver and golds, which is like the Italian that has the gray undertone, which is very pretty. You really don't want to breed the silver to silver, and I don't understand why you would want to, because you can get so many fun, cool colors without doing that. Is Andalusian the same as German pastel? No, it is not. That's a good question, but the Andalusian came from the silvers, not the German pastel. The German pastel's big claim to fame is it carries the fee gene, which is how we got the pearls, the fab fees, growl fees, Egyptian fees, all kinds of stuff. We've really worked on that fee gene. Please, Zach, be honest. Well, I was. Julie Ford says, thank you. How do you tell the jumbo from the regular? Only by size or coloring? I have some regulars that are the same coloring as the jumbos. Jumbo is a weight class, not a color. Now, typically, as far as I could be wrong, I don't really watch a lot of, I don't look at competition. It doesn't, I just don't. I probably should, but I don't. Typical jumbos are the jumbo wilds, the pharaohs, the browns, all the same thing. The jumbo whites also can be called Texas A&Ms, but they're jumbo whites. As far as I know, I think I'm the only one that sells jumbo white wings and jumbo Egyptians, but I could 100% be wrong on that. I really have no idea. But what I've seen, we're the only ones that do it, but I don't know. We're the only ones that started it, but I'm sure other people are doing it now. So jumbo goes by weight class. So typically it's the wild or the white. That's what I would assume. Or the Egyptian and the white wing, but that's more of a rare thing. Now, you can weigh them, and a jumbo is considered a jumbo if it's 10 ounces at 10 weeks old. Now, that's not the end of a jumbo. It also has to breed true, which means it needs to be fairly accurate on hatching the same thing. Like 90% hatching the same color as the parents. So if it's jumbo wild, 99% need to hatch out jumbo wild. You always get a crazy creeper in there sometimes. But it also needs to be 95% or higher on making weight. So the babies also need to make weight. I think that's a lot of people's issues when they start selling quail. They don't realize that those eggs that they're collecting might be jumbo eggs, but they don't know for sure because they need to be able to hatch them for multiple generations and make sure that the weight stays on. But again, I think that's more of a not knowing thing than anything else. I hope that helped. I don't know where I am. Emma Ball says, don't hold back. I appreciate you. Well, I did. Tracy says, do you have any YouTube videos talking about inbreeding? I think I do, but I would have no idea what it's called. And if I had to guess, I don't know. It's probably not a bad idea to have a breeding. You guys are giving me a lot of good videos. I don't know when I'm going to have time to do them, but a lot of good videos. I probably don't. The rule of thumb is you need to ask the breeder from where you're getting them from. Hey, we hit over 100 likes. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate it. Didn't piss off everybody, I guess, huh? You need to ask the breeder you're getting them from how long they can be inbred for. Now, if you order from me, I'm going to say 3 generations. You can breed for more, but it's kind of like the sell-by date. Like, it's good for after the sell-by date, but it's better to put a number on there and to be safe. So really, you could go 6 generations, 4 generations, 5 generations without having any issues at all. 3 generations, you're not going to have any issues at all, and then introduce some new blood. Either get some more hatching eggs, add some new males, get some new hens, whatever the case may be, or you can have a breeding program, which I need to get into. But that's the general of it, and I need to do a video on it because it can get confusing. And I need to take my time on it. April says, are mountain quail the same as Coturnix? Nope, they are quail, but different species altogether. Nabiki says, I don't breed silver to silver due to the health issues, albinos, low hatch rates. It sounds like Andalusians are even worse. Yes, because the silver to silver, Andalusian is when you literally pull that gene out of the silver. So you're breeding silver to silver, silver to silver, silver to silver, over and over and over and over. Finally, you bring that Andalusian out, and now you're breeding Andalusian to Andalusian. I mean, you're asking for a lot of trouble, and just people don't know that. You know what I mean? So there you go. Emma Ball says, the breeder I had the eggs from have me eggs from a mixed covey, and I asked this week what genes were in the covey. She's saying Andalusian and silver is having those in tucks too. If it's a mixed cage, if it's a mixed cage, you can probably breed a couple generations together. Problem is that if it's a mixed cage, you don't know what male and female bred together. You know, if an Andalusian and a silver bred together, that's not good. But if an Andalusian and a tux bred together, then that's not a big deal at all. That's actually really good for you. It's not the end of the world if you hatch some out. You know, you might have failures. You need to see the signs. So if you breed your Andalusian to Andalusian together and you're seeing very low fertility when you should not, you know, if you've got the square feet right and you got the male to female ratio right and you've got the light right and the eggs are not old, but you're having a really poor hatch rate or fertility rate, then that would be an inbred issue or sign of inbreeding. If they're hatching out deformed, bulgy eyes, failure to thrive, that is an inbred issue. Not always, but that would be the case for you specifically. And if it does, then you know you can't breed those two together, and you know you gotta kind of call those few chicks that hatch out and start with a new male and start again. So it's not like you're gonna lose the whole thing. So you can try it. Just no one knows what that Andalusian was bred with, was the thing. I have silvers, and honestly, I don't want more of them. There you go. I do love the silvers. You just have to breed them right. That was not a rant. It was educational that we need to know. Silver and Andalusian. Thank you, Ezzo Swanson. Emma says, thank you. That makes a lot of sense and shows just how thoughtful you are for your customers and not just your pocket. Thank you. Not a problem. Well, it's both. I mean, I do want people to succeed. I'm not saying I don't. But if I don't take care of you in the long run, whether you know I am or not, you're not coming back. You know what I mean? So I am not at all satisfied with a one-time purchase. If we only have a one-time purchase from someone, I did something wrong, or the customer was not someone I wanted to have a customer. I mean, there's people I blackball, but I mean, if you're only buying once from me, whether it's once ever, or, you know, I mean, I've got some customers that buy monthly. I've got customers that buy yearly. I've got customers that buy multiple times in, you know, a season, and then that's all they do or whatever. But I also have customers that buy once every 2 or 3 years when they want to introduce new flock. I'm okay with that. New blood. I'm okay with that. That's fine. You do you. But if I'm not taking care of you on the back end, even if you're not understanding what I'm doing, it won't matter, because if you have issues with your quail, you're going to blame me. You know what I mean? So whether you understand the process or not, it's going to be on me. So you're going to go somewhere else. So if I take care of the back end without you knowing any of it or understanding of it or care about it, well, then you trust me, and that's what I'm doing for you. So, I mean, it is twofold. Because I do want that repeat business, but the more successful you are, I really do believe the more successful I'll be. And so a lot of people that doesn't make sense to them, because if you guys are really successful, you're not going to be buying quail from me anymore. I get that. But you're going to tell more people because you're excited about it and you're successful about it. And they're going to say, okay, well, where do I get started? And you'll go, oh, it's Myshire. So, I mean, it all works out. If you do right things happen. Karma is not just a B word. Karma is true, and you got to do the right thing. Whew. It's a lot of ranting tonight. Maria says, thank you very much. We got up to 105, so I appreciate everybody. James says, one question I do have my hatching Caturnix quail. I do have some white with a black color, and most do not survive, and they are much smaller in the Caturnix brown and black color. I would contact the breeder you got them from and ask them. If it actually is a black, then that would be your issue. We have found we've not had them here. This is all because we've seen stuff online. This is what we've deduced. The black Caturnix carry lethal yellow. It was brought into the country illegally, without the proper documentation and without the proper testing, and was sold way too fast. It should still be under testing. It was spread out throughout the US, and it carries lethal yellow. That's why we'll never have black quail that was imported from wherever here, because we do not want lethal yellow anywhere in our flock. Because Cubby, if by chance one of those goes into a mixed cage, we got a really big problem, and we send way too many eggs out to be spreading something like that. Now, that might not be the case, but that's the problem with the black color. I'm just all about colors tonight, aren't I? Eustace says, have you ever saw quail kill other creatures like mice, rats, or bats? No. Or frogs? No. I have not. I don't know if they could. Be interesting. I've seen chickens do that. I've never seen quail. Maria says, amazing info. Thank you, Zach. Not a problem. Mike says, the eggs you sent are starting lockdown tonight. I'll send feedback soon. Thank you very much. Good luck, and I wish you all the best. Yusuf says, the 80s are in my chicken. Oh, you're not talking to me. Shelly says, thank you for the explanation on silvers. Yeah, I don't know if people cared about that or not. And there is more technical stuff about it. That's the layman way to explain it all. And so you can get more technical and you can get deeper into it, but I don't see the point. Like, understand the process and then go, got it, instead of going, oh, well, the allele on the, and it's like, no, just understand that it's the inbreeding thing. It's, you know what I mean? But there is a lot more technicality about it. I just don't like to get into all that stuff because it doesn't really matter. And that's how I understand it, you know? So I've got much smarter people than me explaining it to me, and then I go, so really, you just can't breed that to that, or you're going to get that. And they're like, yeah, in the dumbest way. And I go, I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. I understand. Emma says, I wish you were my breeder. I like your standards. Well, thank you very much. It's taken us a long time to figure out exactly the standards that we need. We've improved throughout the years, but that's what you should do. You should learn from your mistakes and learn from other people and continue to go. What color is the light orange colored quail? That would be the German pastels. Good question. And you'll hear people say German pastel is not a color. It is a collection, that's true, but it's based off of German pastels. And I do not break those colors down because it's such a wide, like the SSCs and the German pastels are collections of colors of the same variety. So like, for example, the silvers, you know, if you breed with the Tibetan, you get the charcoal. If you breed with the wild, you get the silver pharaoh. If you breed with the Italian, you get the silver and gold, so on and so forth, right? Well, you can do the same thing with the German pastels. There's so many different slight varieties of those. Who wants all those different, like, it's a German. You know what I mean? Like, keep it simple. That's what we try to do here on the farm. Doesn't always succeed. That's what we try to do in the business, and that's how I just explain things. And if you don't like that explanation, there's plenty of other people that will go in depth about the specific feather pattern quality. And it's like, not for me, sorry. But I understand that not everybody's like me. I get it. Falcon Rebel says 96% hatch rate on some extra. Thank you. That is wonderful. Congratulations. If you can let me know what kind you ordered, I greatly appreciate it. But fantastic hatch rate. I love that number. I'm going to write that down. And if by chance you're still on, if you could let me know how many you ordered or your order number or the name, just so I can look it up and add it to the records. But fantastic, great job. Jacob says hello, finally caught you live. Welcome. I've been ranting for the past 20 minutes, so I apologize to everybody, but I've tried to be educational as we go. Yusuf says, what is the lethal yellow? Lethal yellow is kind of the same thing as when you inbreed the silvers and you have all those issues, the low hatch rate, the bad fertility, the failure to thrive, the deformities. That's lethal yellow. And if lethal yellow doesn't have to mean that it's a white quail, because white quail hatch out as yellow chicks. Lethal yellow means it's just a lethal gene, and if it gets into your covey, it won't destroy your breeders. It will destroy the line. It'll destroy the next hatch rate because they won't hatch, or it'll be low fertility or deformities or failure to thrive or whatever. So it's not something you can see is the problem. But with all the issues we've heard from online and other people texting and calling about the black, that's the issue, is that we trace it back to lethal yellow. Delaney says, I'm so learning. Thank you. Not a problem. Now, with all that being said, the SSEs, I know for a fact, we've tested it, we've tried it, we know. With the black quail, I want to be very, very clear. I have not tested them. I do not have them. I have never owned them, right? It is strictly from the information online, on Google, on Facebook, from word of mouth, where we have deduced this has to be the issue. So there's a possibility that we could be wrong. We're not, but we could be. So just making that very clear, I do not have facts on that. I'll leave it at that. Jacob says, the eggs I got off you are incubating now. Awesome. Good luck. I wish you all the best. Delaney says, I'm so learning. Thank you. Not a problem. Glad we could help. Witch Doctor says, always love your lessons. Not a problem. I'm glad I could help. Falcon says, had adopted the jumbo whites. Got a 21 female, 8 roux. It's not too bad. Good ratio for hatch out. Not bad. Emma says, Zach, I know you're busy, but could I email you and have your expertise and help on identifying the birds I hatched? Yep, you're more than welcome to do that. I will do my best to help. Jacob says, was packaged nicely and came with good directions. We try. I'm glad that worked out for you and that you enjoyed it. Erica says, I was interested. I love your rants. They tend to be very informative. Sometimes it's just, it causes some controversy, and I try not to do it a lot. Plus, Jenny yells at me a lot about it. But sometimes it just gets under my skin. Like, people should at least know. I'm not saying that everybody needs to be an expert in genetics and understanding specific colors. Like, no, we don't need to know all that. You know what I mean? But there's some things to keep. I'll put it this way, and then I'll be done ranting. It is a million times more important for me to breed for health than for anything else. We breed for health first and foremost, period. Nothing else. Then we breed for temperament, make sure that they're not jerks and a-holes. Some of them will be, you'll get that jerk every once in a while, but it's not like the majority. It's not like, you might get one out of every 500. You won't get one out of every 10. You know what I mean? So we breed for that. Then we breed for weight. Then we breed for egg production, not egg size, egg production. Then we breed for color. That's number 5. It's low on my totem pole. And we purposely do not breed to breed true. Because the only way to breed true is to, inbreed. Let's do it again. We're all going to learn. The only way to breed 100% true is to, you did it, good job, is to inbreed. So I get a lot of hate for not breeding true, but I've stayed in business for a really long time, and it's because I don't breed true. It's because we keep our coveys safe and happy and healthy so that you can breed true, and it's not a big deal. Okay, I'm done ranting. I am so sorry, everybody that was out there. I am going to get in so much trouble from Andy says, the breeder told me there was no Italian in the cage. You must not be talking to me. Shelly says, could you do a video on a breeding program? You know, I wrote that down. I really should. I'm not going to do it the way people like. I'm going to do it the way I think people should understand. And if they want to dive in more with that, then they can. But it's going to be a really controversial video. But again, you have to breed long-term and not short-term. Zach, which color did you create at Myshire Farm? The Cosmos, Egyptian Fees, Pansy Fee, Scarlet Fee, Sex Links. I mean, I guess those were produced overseas, but we were the first ones in the US to do it. I think we were the first ones with Egyptians. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. The old timers might have had Egyptians. I don't think they did, though. They couldn't have, because we had to make it. I don't know. The White Wings. Let's see. I don't know. I think that might be it. And I'm not saying that other countries or other places didn't have those, but making them readily accessible to the public, that's what we did. Adam says, you're doing a good job. Keep it up. Wife tells me I have a problem. Wouldn't have anything to do with ordering over 300 from you. Have some hatching now. There you go. You won some good deals, though. I mean, let her know that you got really good deals. You know what I mean? They'll pay for themselves because of how low you got them. So I got your back if I need. If I just need to text her and say, hey, just letting you know, best deals of the month. I can try. But I think we all have kind of a problem with hatching. Like, we're all little hatchaholics or quailaholics, if you will. Yusuf says, I understand now. Thanks, not a problem. QuailCon 55 days. I'm ready. Are you? Jesus. No, I have a lot more to do. Probably should get on the ball with that. Is that on my list this week? Yep, sure is. Whew. Yusuf says, quail genetics sound confusing, man. They're not. They're not. I should do a basic breeding. Nope. I'm not going to go down that road. I was going to go on another rant, and there's no reason for it. I'm going to let it go. Falcon Rebel says, San Diego quail are loving this weather. 429 all white, 1529 spotted, 3 shoulder and tail spotted, order number 69842. That is wonderful. 96%. That's awesome. Good job. Thank you for letting me know. James says, I will have to send you a pic of what I am talking about. Yeah, you'll have to. I would assume it's a German, though. The 80s room says, how long does it take for an egg to table-sized bird? 8 weeks. 8 weeks once they hatch. Can you leave quail in the incubator for 72 hours? I do not ever recommend it. Some people do. I never recommend it. Why do you want to leave them in there? They're hungry and cold and hot, and they want to move around. And get them out. I recommend 24 hours, 48 hours if you need to. 72 is just a long time. You're really pushing it to 72. I don't recommend it. I'll leave it at that. Some people do it, though. Shelly says, I'm following your advice. Slow and steady wins the race. Absolutely. Jacob says, so what do you suggest when we breed? I don't know what you mean. What do you suggest when we breed? I don't know what that. I need you to clarify a little bit, and I'll try to help you out. M says, when people talk about aggressive birds, does this mean to the other birds or to me when I put my hand in the cage? If it's aggressive, usually it'll be aggressive to both. That's another pet peeve of mine. Aggression is usually, I don't know how you put numbers on this stuff, but very large majority. Like if I had to put a percentage on it, like 90% aggression is usually due to environment. Usually, but not always. Not always. And that's the hard thing, is there's so many, like, do you remember back in high school when you learned if in math, like IFF, if and only if? Like this will only work if, IFF, if and only if this is in the thing. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that. It's like, well, it's this. But if it's not this, it could be this, this, and this. But there's small chance that it's this, this, or this. It's probably this, but it might not be this. It could be. So it's like, it's just not a science. Sorry. I wonder if there's quail fights, since I know there's cockerel fights because there are some aggressive quail. I would doubt it, but there might be. I don't know. S.O. Swanson says, breeding will be a great next Quail University course, though not before QuailCon. There you go. Yeah, not before QuailCon. James says today. Oh, not talking to me. Delaney says, Robert says he's hungry again. Well, he's going to have to wait till Friday. Or you can go to the website. He can surf the website for you while you're cooking him something up. Didn't you create sparklies? Yeah, again, I mean, like Egyptians and sex links and sparklies, growfies, those were all available in other countries. We never imported, we made them here. So like we would contact other breeders from other countries and say, I love that quail. Like Jenna, the first one we did was the Egyptians and the sex links. So she just happened to see a post one day on Facebook 10 years ago. It said, here's all my hens, and they were day olds. And she goes, hey. And I was like, doesn't make sense. How does he know? And so she was like, huh. I mean, chickens can do that. And I said, what? She goes, I mean, in theory, we could make sex links. And I go, why are we not trying it? She goes, I don't know, where's art? And he said, message him. And so she did. I mean, I was working a full-time job then. And she's like, hey. And he was like, well, I love all your fun colors. Can you tell me how to get this? And she goes, yes. You want to tell me how to get this? And he goes, cool. And so that's what we did. And so, sex links weren't a thing. We didn't even know about it until he told us, well, you have to have the Egyptians. And we go, we don't know what an Egyptian is. And they're like, well, it's a wild with the Rue gene. And we were like, it's a scarlet? And they're like, no, it's an Egyptian. We're like, scarlet. We're like, no. And so she sent a picture of a scarlet, and he goes, no. And so he sent a picture of an Egyptian. He goes, it's the scarlet with the wild. Makes Egyptian. You need the Egyptian. And we were like, oh. We were thinking we had a language barrier. He's like, no, you're just not listening. We were like, my bad. So then we created the Egyptian, and then he's like, all right, put the Egyptian males with the wild hens, sex links every time. And we did it, and we were like, oh. And then years later, we told him how to make some other stuff. And years later, he contacted us, and he goes, hey, how are you breeding your Italians? I said, well, for 3 generations, we're breeding Italian to Italian, and then we're breeding wild back to it. And he goes, put gold Manchurian males over your Italian hens. We were like, wow. He's like, prettier color, more vibrant, they're bigger size, bigger eggs, and you're always going to be, you don't have to keep going back and forth. And we were like, what? And so we did. 100% true. They look so much better. So you never know. That's been years and years and years of understanding and learning and stuff. So the sparklies, yes, we did make here, but there was sparklies available. I just don't know if they were in the U.S. James says 3 weeks old now. We'll be breeding my rabbits, and my chickens are laying like crazy. By the time the 25 get old enough to lay, should be getting 40 a day. Awesome, good luck. Farm Life says my snake just bit me. That sucks, sorry. Jacob says, how should we select our breeders, and should we look for other breeders from other breeders? What? And should we look for other breeders from other breeders? Again, it really depends on who you're buying from. So, I would contact your breeder. I'm not necessarily saying you have to order from us. I think you should. I think we're the best out there, and I work really hard to be so. But you can order from other people. I'm cool with that. We can still be friends. But I would ask them what they recommend. So, for example, you don't have to worry about inbreeding with us. Because we don't breed 100% true, because we don't inbreed, right? Discussed all of that in depth. So you can breed back and back. Now, with all that being said, if you have 2 cages, so even if you get a Wynola Ranch cage that's just 2 tiers, you would, in theory, never have to order any quail ever again from anybody, as long as you have that breeding program set up. And that's actually pretty simple. You put the males in with cage 2, you put the hens in with cage 1. It's a little bit more complicated than that, but that's pretty much it. And I'll do a video on that to let you guys know. But again, breeding for health is the most important. But if you do breed from us, we can tell you 3 generations, you breed back. So you're talking 3 years. Breed what you hatch out from us, you can breed for 3 years straight without any issues. And you could go longer, but I'm giving you that sell by date. You know what I mean? And then, either switch 2 cages around or add some new males or some new blood, and you'll be good to go. It's a good question. That's a good question. And I'll go more in depth on the videos. Foster Farm says, our golds will pick the snot out of you if you try to take the eggs. We love that little bit of mama hen in our girls. I think that's pretty true for us too. I think the hens, the gold hens, are probably the most protective of the eggs as well, probably. Farmless says, I know that had nothing to do with quail, but whatever. LOL. There you go. Hey, snake bite is snake bite. You should probably tell people. April says, does jumbo quail require higher protein than standard Caturnix? Nope, not at all. That's a good question, and you would think that they would, but they don't. Emma says, apart from Andalusian, silver, what others would recommend we not breed together, and why? It's a good question. German to German, silver to silver, and that is Growl, BTA, Sparkly, Rosetta, Tibetan, Scarlet, Silver, German, Scarlet V, Gold, Autumn Amber V, Fab V, Pearl, Pansy V. That's it. Everything else is not a big deal at all to inbreed. Sorry, I had to go through all of my cages. Takes a while. Got a lot of cages. Falcon says, I select my breeder with similar traits, good birds and dead sexy. There you go. There you go. Foster Farm says, LOL, I'm going to have the same video in 10 years about my combos with you. There you go. I did an experiment with Zach's birds. It took me 20 generations before I got signs of inbreeding. Again, it takes a while. It takes a while. I just would not be comfortable saying 20, but I probably should bump that 3 up to longer. But the problem is I only inbreed for 3 generations, and then I switched out. So I just don't want to tell other people to go longer when I don't. But you could easily. Anywho, Yusuf says, Zach, the live wilds on your site say they are standard now. I'm confused which ones the jumbos are. Sorry for the repeat question. There's that. So, like, if you go to the live bird section on the website, you'll see, like, teen sets and breeder sets and female sets. There's actually one that says jumbo breeder sets. And it's a picture of a jumbo wild. So it's all by itself. So, like, the breeder set, the standard regular breeder set, no, there won't be any. It's specifically a jumbo breeder set. that's by itself, not under the breeder set. Hopefully that makes sense. Shelly says, I keep telling hubby I need a new incubator. I mean, I can tell him too if that helps. You says, do you ever buy new blood from other breeders? No, we brought some in probably, well, it was before the new barn, so it had to be 4 or 5 years ago. 4 years ago was the last time we did it. We brought in 3 different, and we didn't save any of them. We didn't like the traits, we didn't like the size, we didn't like a lot of stuff. And so we decided from then on that, you know what, we'll just figure out how to do it and keep doing it ourselves. So that's what we did. We spent almost an entire year on coming up with a specific plan to be able to not have to ever bring in new blood. Farm Life says, how many quail can go in a 6x6 aviary? I recommend 3 quail per square foot. I think aviaries are more like 6 quail per, no, 2, I don't know. To get that answer, you can join, somebody help me out. What's, Sow and Tear. I got it. There's a YouTube channel called Sow and Tear, S-O-W, and then the and sign, and then T-A-R-E. She does a YouTube live every Monday night. She does aviary settings, much more natural setting. She has a lot of her quail go broody and take care of the chicks out in the aviary or in the brooder or whatever. She would have much better ideas for your aviary settings. She'll actually be here at QuailCon talking about aviary setups. So there you go. Jacob says, what would you suggest I buy next from you? What breeds are very popular? Oh, sorry. I was going a whole different way. Jumbo Wilds are the most popular. Jumbo Egyptians are really popular. Jumbo Whites, or any jumbo is very popular. On the color side, feather sexable mix, any mix, feather sexable mix, variety choice mix, or rare mix, those are always big sellers because a lot of people just don't care because you can put a lot of different colors together, and they just want the eggs and meat and want them to be pretty. So the mixes is what we sell the most of by far. Like even on the jumbo side of the barn, jumbo mix is what we sell the most of. No, that's not true. Jumbo Wilds will always be the #1 seller. But other than the Jumbo Wilds. And specific colors, I would say pearls, pansy fees, and sparklies are the 3 top colors. Thanks, you got me on my way. 80 eggs a day. That is awesome. Congratulations. That's a lot. April says, does jumbo quail get more aggressive with smaller quail? No, not usually. Usually the jumbo quail are much more docile than anything else. They like to eat. I like them. They remind me of me. Falcon Rebel says, thanks for the 3 generation interval breeding tip. By the way, one of the all white ended up to be at 10 weeks, 19.7 ounces and very fat. Don't know if it was my fault. Do some quail overeat and get too obese. Yes, very rarely. It doesn't happen very often, but yeah. It's big quail. Yeah. I mean, you can get some of those 19. I don't know if I've seen a 19. I've seen a lot of 16s and 17s. 19's pretty stupid, stinking big. It's pretty cool. Congratulations. Way over a pound. All right, everybody. That was, oh Lord, we've been going on for a while now. 2 hours. That was a long live, but I think we had a lot of fun. Some good ranting and some helpful information. I got some really good YouTube video ideas that I should really do. I think the breeding video, the repeat customer video for Quail for Profit, and the do not grind your feed video would be very beneficial to a lot of people out there. I do really want to, I'll say this and we'll get off. I do really want to help as many people as I can be successful. And so doing the YouTube videos, I don't make money off of it, or I don't know, I can look it up, but I think it's like $60 a month for views. You know, it's nothing. Because they take 40%. So I get 40% of $60 every 3 months from making YouTube videos. So it's really not that much. But I really do think that the more successful you can be, the better it makes me feel, and the better I think I'll be. You know, I think karma works both ways. Karma can do really bad for you, or karma can really get you hooked up. You know what I mean? Anyways, I really want to do videos for you. I've got some really good ideas for some really good videos. It's kind of a little lower on my totem pole right now, a little lower on my list. I've just got a lot of stuff going on. QuailCon's coming up. I've got the barn, obviously, the business. You know, I'm doing auctions on the weekends, which take a lot of my time. I've got the kids. I've got the wife. I've got, you know, other stuff going on. So just be patient with me for when I'm posting videos. I did not post any this past week. I should have. There's 2 that's literally ready to go, and all I had to do was hit publish, and I didn't. And it's just because it wasn't high on my priority list. You know, I was always moving to the next thing. And so I will get to them. Stay with me. I will still be here every Sunday at 7 p.m. to help answer questions and help you along. I will have some really good videos coming out. If you want to support the channel and help, I'm not asking for money, but if you really want to help the cause and the quail world and the community and help the channel and help, you know, spread the word, whatever, find a video that really does help you or motivate you with your Coturnix quail and share that on your social media, and hopefully some of the people that follow you or watch you or are friends with you on Facebook or like your stuff will see that video and they might share it. You know what I mean? So that would be fantastic. But I will get these videos out as soon as I can. I just got a lot of stuff going on, like always. But right now, it's a timing thing. But I will get them out as soon as I can. Make sure you check out Quail University and Quail Con. Both are available on our website. They have descriptions, and you can learn all about them. So I won't bore you with all of that. You can watch the first 7 minutes of the video with all the updates and announcements. I really appreciate everybody watching tonight. A lot of you stayed very late, so I really appreciate that as well. For everybody that liked the video and was kind to everybody in the comments, I appreciate all of you. I am very proud and honored to be a part of this quail community. I am glad that I can contribute to this quail community, and that was our goal many, many, many years ago. Because believe it or not, when we started, there was no quail community. There was 1 or 2 Facebook groups, and you better know what you're talking about before you ask any questions, because you will get belittled and berated on there. And we said, this is going to change. And so we've spent the last, I don't know, 10 and a half, 11 years working on a community that is there for each other and like-minded and want to help each other and let bygones be bygones and work together. And you guys are amazing at that, so I really appreciate it. I do have a couple more comments, and then we will get out of here. Vase Play says, have a blessed night. You as well. Bags of Love, great live. Thank you very much. Emma says, what is your favorite color quail? Cosmos. They are freaking ridiculously gorgeous. Yusa says, I want a 19-ounce quail too. You don't want very many. They don't do very well. They don't live very long. They're not built to be that big. So, you know, if you get one in a blue moon, it's kind of fun, but you don't want to try to get them to that size. Buster says, thanks for the live. Thanks for showing up. I appreciate it. Jacob says, thank you for your time. Have a nice night. You as well. Forzoo Florida says, thank you. Not a problem. It doesn't move much. Falcon, yeah, it won't move much. It won't lay very well, but it's pretty cool. If you wanted my advice, which you did not ask for, but I'm going to give it to you freely, which Jenna, my wife, also hates when I do, I would butcher it. I know it's probably a hen, but it's not going to last long. One day you're going to go out there and it's going to be dead just because it's not supposed to be that big. It's cool that it is, but you get much more use out of it if you butcher. It might lay a few eggs for you, but probably just 2 or 3 a week. It's just a thought. Just think about it. We've made that mistake before. But if you want to try to work it out, I'm all for it. Good luck. False Farm says, thank you so much, Zach. Not a problem. Mike says, I'm hooked. Well, thank you very much. I think this was your first time on here, so I appreciate it, and hopefully you'll be back next week. Yusuf says, thank you for the live. God bless you all. You as well. Bass says, thank you, Zach. Not a problem. The 80s Room says, thanks. I'm so interested in getting quail. We'd love for you to be a part of the quail community and get addicted to quail like the rest of us, and we'll be there for you. I mean, we won't tell you to slow down. We'll tell you to speed up, but that's just the way it goes, so you got to take the good with the bad. April says, I'm wanting to go to all jumbo quail gradually. I like the ones I have. That's wonderful. Good luck. Witch Doctor says, good night all. See you next week. Absolutely. And congratulations for the new Tennessee gig. Very, very happy for you. I know that's what you've been wanting for a while. Emma says, sorry if I got you in trouble for your rant. I don't know why you would, but you were very helpful. So all of us, and we appreciate your controversy or not. We trust your opinion and knowledge. Thank you. Yeah, Jenna just doesn't like controversy. So she's like, there's no reason. You're not going to change those people's mind. And I wasn't trying to do that to change other people's mind. I'm just trying to share. Anyways, it doesn't matter. I'll be right. She probably won't even know about it. She never watches my lives, and this will probably be the one that she catches. Falcon says, just wait for the maggots to fall in the pen. There you go. Patty's Garden Feather says, thanks for sharing your knowledge. Not a problem. Glad I could help. False Farm says, dang, YouTube takes as much as eBay. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Which is why I stopped all the ads, like the skipped ads. I was like, I mean, it's annoying for people to watch, and it's not like I'm making any off of it. So if it's a long video, I'll probably add it on because it's a few bucks. But the short little helpful videos, like if I'm doing a review, I'll probably do it to try to pay back what I spent on the incubators and stuff like that. But like the short videos, like the one I did is Quail Too Hot or Fly Control, like they're 3-4 minutes long and there's no ads on it. Eric Willis says, thank you for your informative live, Zach. Don't hold back on the rants. We love them, or at least I do. There you go. Thank you. Shandel Lynn says, do you still do the giveaway for the kids? We do. First Sunday of every month. Yusuf says, whoever has the 19-ounce quail, I'll pay $25 for it. There you go. Andy Rabbit says, I learned a few things from you from what you were calling rants. Well, I'm glad I could help. Everybody have a great week. Keep quailing. Yep, absolutely. Happy Homestead says, dang it, I just got here. Oh, I've been ranting for a while, so you probably don't want to watch it. Falcon says it throws up a bunch of water sometimes too. Yeah, usually to cool off. They get lazy when they get that big, that's for sure. S.O. Swanson says, my garage has my hospital room. It's called a freezer. There you go. Oh, Happy Homestead says, my garage has my hospital room. It's called my garage. No, I've been making a hospital room for my injured hen, Happy Homestead said. And then S.O. Swanson said his was the freezer. There you go. Psycho Word 360 says, everybody have a great night. See you at QuailCon. Absolutely. Farnley says, thanks and bye. Have a nice night. You as well. And April says, tell your lady how beautiful she is and let her know how much you appreciate her. Yeah, she doesn't listen to me anymore. We've been married for too long. It'll be fine. She'll get over it real quick. She doesn't really care that much. All right, everybody, thank you very much. If you just joined or joined late or whatever the case may be, make sure you watch the first 7 minutes of the video. It has all the announcements and up-to-date information you might want to find out. And until next week, everybody, stay safe. I will do my very best to post some videos this week to help you on your adventure. So make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon for notifications so you don't miss it. And as always, everybody, until next week, stay safe. Thanks, guys.